Hey guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a toggle sprint mod for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So first you're going to want to start Minecraft and then start Cheat Engine, press this thing at the top, hit the Processes tab, and then attach to minecraft.windows.exe. Once you've done that, press play, go into a world, make sure it's a single player world, and just stay there for now. And we're not going to do anything in this world yet. First we're going to want to make a form that will tell us whether sprinting is toggled or not. So press Ctrl, Alt, and A, which will bring up this window. And then we're going to make an enable section and then a disable section. And now we're going to want to make it execute Lua, so type this thing. And now we're going to want to create our form for the overlay. And now we have to set the border style to nothing, because if we don't do that, we'll have these 3 buttons at the top of our overlay window, and we'll have the bar too, which we don't want. And now we're going to set the window color. I'm going to be using black. And now we have to make the black transparent. Once you've done that, change the form style to make it always stay on top. Otherwise, if you don't do this, when you click something else, it'll just go in the background and it won't be very useful. Now we have to make the actual text overlay part of this overlay. And now we can set a font size. I'm going to be using 20 for this video. Normally, people would have it smaller, and you can change it to whatever you want. And now we're going to set a font color. For now, I'm going to be using red because it's going to be easier to see while we have this white window open. And now we have to set the font quality. And now we are going to create a test caption just to make sure this works. And you can use any text for this. And now we're going to want to make the form actually show, so we need to make it visible. And over here, before the disable section, type this, and change it back to assembly. And now come over here and change it back to Lua. And type f.destroy. So whenever we enable this, it'll make the form show up, and then once we disable it, it'll make the form go away. Now press File and assign the current cheat table. I'm going to name this toggle sprint for now. And when we enable this, it makes the text appear. Once we disable it, the text goes away. And once we have done that, we can actually start scanning for the values in the game. So before you do that though, press settings here, and make sure you have a hotkey for pausing the process. You might also want to have hotkeys for scanning increased and decreased values, because it makes it a lot quicker and easier. Now come back into the game and hold down your sprint key. So my sprint key is Control, so I'm holding that down right now, and then press the pause game key. And then come over here, make sure the type is byte, and do a scan for a value of 1. And then now unpause the game. Now press the sprint key again. And after that, release it. And then now scan for a value of 0. And then now you can just hold down your sprint key, scan for 1, or increased. And then now stop pressing it, and then press decreased. And you can just keep repeating this. Okay, so once you have a few values left, okay, it's not this one. So add all of these values to the address list except for this green one at the bottom here. And now we're going to want to freeze each one at a value of 1 until we start automatically sprinting. So I'm going to do 3 at a time. So I'm going to select these, I'm going to press space to freeze them, and then now I'm going to press enter, and then change this to 1. And I don't start automatically sprinting, so I know it's not these 3. And now I'm going to try the next 3. And I do start automatically sprinting, so I know it's one of these 3. I'm gonna try these one at a time. So I'm gonna freeze this one at 1. I don't start automatically sprinting, so it's not this one. I'm gonna freeze this one at 1. And I don't start automatically sprinting, so it's not this one. And I'm gonna try the last one of the 3. I'm gonna freeze this at 1. And I do start automatically sprinting, so I know it's this one. Now we can delete all of the other values. And over here, right click, and find out what accesses this address. And right now we have 2 running. We're gonna use the 3rd one that starts running once we press resume game. So a new one popped up when we press resume game. Press stop, click here, press show disassembler. And now press tools, auto assemble, template, AOB injection, that stands for array of bytes by the way. And here I'm gonna name this auto sprint. And this script will be turned on when we actually toggle sprint. So we're gonna change this to move EAX 1. So this will automatically enable sprinting whenever we start moving, and press assign the current sheet table. And if we enable this script, whenever we start moving, it will automatically sprint for us. So for now, we can disable this and delete this value. Okay, so once you've done that, go back into your toggle sprint script and delete the overlay caption part. And now we're gonna want to create a timer. And we have to set an interval now. I'm gonna be using 10, and this basically means that it will execute every 10 milliseconds. And now we have to make the on timer thing, so it actually works. And end. So it will execute the code between where it says function here and where it says end here every 10 milliseconds. So now we're going to want to find the Minecraft window. And we're going to make a new variable called mem. And we're going to set the size to 8. And we're going to set x to read dword. And we're going to add 15 to it. So it doesn't stay at the very top and at the very left of this window. So it will come to the right of it, and once we offset the Y, it will also come down. And now we have to actually move the form. Okay, so now type mem.destroy so we can get rid of the mem variable. And now we have to make a caption. And enable that. And now the text will follow wherever we drag the Minecraft window. But there's a small problem, and that's if we go full screen. It won't actually follow to the top and to the left here. And we'll see why in a second here. Come back over here and copy this part. Copy this. And then now press Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and L at the same time. And paste this in, but instead of setting these, just do print x and then print y. And press execute. And you'll see that whenever we go full screen, the values go super high. So we have to make it so that if the values are super high, it automatically sets these values to 0. So once we come here, we have to check if x is greater than 100,000. Then x equals 15. Then we do the same for y. And after you've done that, press OK. And now, when we full screen, it should offset to over here. And now that we have an overlay that follows our Minecraft window, we have to actually make the toggle sprint part of this. So up here, make a new variable called toggled, and make another one called was pressed, and set both of them to 0. come down here. And we are going to want to check if our sprint key is being pressed, so mine is control. And now we are going to check if was pressed is equal to 0. And if it is 0, we are going to toggle the script. And we're going to set was pressed to 1. And if the key isn't pressed, we are going to change was pressed to 0. Okay, so once you've done that, we have to actually make the toggle function. So come down here and do function toggle, and then type end here, and now we have to actually make the function. So I'm gonna come back to our auto sprint script and copy the entire enable section, copy, and then come back here and type this. So this will turn it on. But we only want to turn it on if we're actually toggling the thing on and not off. So first I'm gonna put this here. So basically if it's on it makes it off, and if it's off it makes it on. I should probably spell these right. After you've done that, come here and type if toggled is 1, then execute this part. Otherwise, execute the disable section, which we will now copy paste. Now we have a working toggle function, and really quickly I'm just going to change this caption, and I'm going to make it to string and toggled. So it will show 0 if it's off and 1 if it's on. And I'm going to come here, I'm going to press OK. And once we enable this, it's going to show 0 when it's off, and once we press the sprint key, it's going to be on. And now we have auto sprint. And once we press our sprint key again, it's going to turn it off. So now we can come over here, and we can give this an actual, actual text. So if toggled is 1, then we are going to set the caption. Otherwise, we just set it to nothing, and then now type end. I'm going to add these and press OK. Now once you enable it, it won't show anything at first until you actually enable sprint. And now press the sprint key again, and it'll toggle it off, and now it won't show anything. However, if you are sprinting, and you're still sprinting, and then you toggle it off while you're still sprinting, it will make the message go away. And we want to display a separate message whenever we're still sprinting, but we're not toggled. So now we have to scan for whether we are sprinting or not. So scan for a value of 8, but before you press scan, make sure you actually start sprinting first. And then press your pause game key, and come up here, and make sure you typed in 8, and then press first scan, and just wait for that to finish. Once you've done that, press your pause game key again to unpause the game, and now since you're not sprinting anymore, you can scan for decreased. I would recommend using a hotkey for this, and now start sprinting again, increased, decreased, increased. Okay, so now we only have 2 of these values left. And now we're going to want to go into each of these, right click, and press find out what accesses this address, and press stop, and do it for the other one. And normally you would have to try basically all of these, at least the ones that only access one address. And you would have to try most of these, which takes a really long time. So I'm just going to tell you which one it is. So it's this top one right here. It's the test Rax plus 10 RDX. and this might change in future game versions. So in order to check if you have a one that is potentially right, press find out what addresses this instruction accesses, and make sure it is only accessing one address. After you've done that, come up here, go to Tools, Auto Assemble, press Template AOB Injection, and I'm going to name this Get Sprint State. And I'm going to make a new thing called Sprinting. And after that, come down here, under the jump, and type Sprinting, and type DD0. And we want to set sprinting to the value of this. But it doesn't actually let us do that if we try that, so when we try to do that, it says no. So we have to actually move this value into EAX, and then we move EAX into sprinting. So at the top here, type push EAX. So we'll push EAX to the stack, and now we move EAX to the value of this. And now we move sprinting to the value of EAX, and now we pop EAX out of the stack. Now we can go ahead and copy this and put it here, and make sure it says unregister symbol. And now we can assign this to the current sheet table, and we can close these and add a new address, change it to byte, and set the address to sprinting. And I'm going to name this sprinting. And right now it doesn't do anything, but once we enable this script, it will set this value to if we are sprinting or not. So if we're not sprinting, it's 0. If we are sprinting, it's 8. So we can disable this for now, and we're going to come into this toggle sprint script and open this and copy this enable section and paste it above where it says Lua. And then now we're going to come to the disable section and we're going to go to above where it says Lua for disable, and we're going to paste it as well here. So once we've done that, when we enable this toggle sprint script, it will also bring the value here, and we will be able to read it from within the script. So first, we're going to make a new variable called sprinting. And we are going to make it read the address of sprinting and 1, since it's 1 byte that we're reading. And if toggled is 1, then we will continue doing this. Otherwise, if toNumber sprinting is 8, then I'm gonna add this end here real quick. And now, when we press OK and enable this script, if we start sprinting, it'll say toggled, and then if we disable it while we're still sprinting, it'll go to sprinting vanilla. So now we are going to want to make the overlay only appear if our mouse is actually locked in the window. Because right now, if we enable this and sprinting is toggled, if we move another window over this, it'll still say sprinting is toggled, and you can press Control and it'll toggle it, which isn't something that we want. So in order to fix this, we have to come here and lock your mouse within Minecraft, and press your pause game key, and scan for a value of 1. And now unpause the game, and now scan for a value of 0, or just press your decreased hotkey. And now come back in, press your increased hotkey, and just keep repeating this. We're going to have actually a lot of values that we have to work with here. You're going to want to freeze each one at a time at 1. And when you click here, the right one will make you not be able to move your mouse. So it's not this one, so I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to freeze this at 1. I'm going to click here. I can still move my mouse, so it's not this one. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to freeze this at 1. I'm going to click here, and I cannot move my mouse until I press escape. So I know it's this one, so I'm going to delete all of the other ones. And we are going to pointer scan and change the max level down to 1, and you can uncheck this box and press OK. And you can save this anywhere. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to name it mouse locked video, and it's just going to scan here and just sit here and wait. Okay, so once that's done, you should have a few pointers, and I'm going to add these. The right one is the one with minecraft.windows.exe at the bottom. Now we can actually use any of these. I'm going to use the top one. And I'm going to come in here into our toggle sprint script, and I'm going to make it read whether our mouse is locked or not. So I'm going to come here first, and we're going to make a new local variable called mouse locked address. I should probably full screen this. And now we're going to set mouse locked address again. And now read pointer. And plus our offset in our pointer over here. So copy that and then put that here. And make sure to add 0x before it, so it's hex. Close the parentheses, and now we have to read the actual value. Read bytes. And now come up here and look at the top offset and 0x and then the offset. Oh, I should probably fix this and make it only read 1 byte. One thing I didn't mention is sometimes these are off. So if you look here, this doesn't actually match up with this address. So what we have to do here is we have to shift this to 806 so it is the right address. And I'm going to change this here too. And now we have to check if the mouse is locked. So it will only make this work if the mouse is actually locked. And now we have to come over here. So basically, if the mouse is locked, then it will execute this part. If it's not locked, then it just sets the caption to nothing. And now we can test this out. Press OK. I should probably fix this. And now, when we have this overlay, if we aren't focused, if the window isn't focused, or our mouse isn't locked, it won't show the overlay. And if we try pressing Control to toggle it, it does nothing too because the mouse isn't locked. Right now we are almost done, but there's still one problem, and that's if sprinting is toggled while we disable it, it actually won't work too well because it won't be able to scan for the array of bytes again since it changed once the sprinting has been toggled. So make sure that sprinting isn't toggled when you disable this script. And then come down here, and then at the disable section, type if toggled equals 1, then do the disable thing. And now press OK. So now, when we disable the script while sprinting is toggled, it will disable toggle sprint for us. And yeah, now we're done. I hope this video helped you. I hope it taught you something. I hope you had fun making this. And yeah.